You're here because you've had a couple discovery calls and maybe they haven't gone so well, or maybe you have your first discovery call coming up and you want to learn how to do it right. I know what you want. You want to feel confident. You want clear steps for how to handle your discovery call so that you can crush it and get your next client. Well, you've come to the right place. Hey, health coaches, what's up? I'm Nicole. I'm so glad you're here. I'm your sales coach and your Exactly What to Say certified guide. What? Yeah, I'm an Exactly What to Say certified guide, which means I know how to teach you exactly what to say so that more of your conversations turn into clients. How about that? What I'm going to share with you today are some tips for success and 9 steps you can follow on all of your discovery calls so that you always know exactly what to say and exactly what steps to follow to turn that next discovery call into a paying client. So let's get started, shall we? Before I jump into the 9 steps, I want to give you a couple of tips for success. Because if I just give you the 9 steps and you don't actually know how to approach the conversation, it's not going to work as well. These work together. So a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. First of all, use scripts. Yes, use them. Just like you're an actor. If you were an actor and you needed to learn lines, you would start by reading it from a script. You would practice it until you felt really comfortable with it. Scripts work. Another great tip, be curious. Don't judge, don't assume, don't come with certainty to the conversation. Stay open to understanding where that person is coming from. Stay open to being curious and understanding their situation. Allow them to feel seen and heard. That's what you're doing when you stay curious. You're showing them that you care. And people want to be cared about more than anything. And by the way, if they're going to become your client, they're going to need to feel like you care about them. This is your first opportunity to do that. Another great thing to remember is everybody listens to the same radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? If you're not taking the time in the conversation to listen and to build empathy and to understand where they're coming from, to understand how they feel, to understand why they might want to make a decision to work with you, it's going to be really hard for you to help them make that decision. So build that empathy. And one of the best ways to build that empathy is to stay curious, like I said in the last tip. So curiosity leads the way in these conversations, and really build empathy and seek to understand the other person's point of view. Another thing that I want you to think about is through the entire conversation, I want you to be gaining micro commitments. There's so many times where people are like building up to the yes at the end and they're like, oh God, I hope I get a yes. I hope I get a yes. Well, what you want to do is be getting yeses throughout the entire conversation. You're gathering micro commitments so that that final yes that they give you is a culmination of all the micro commitments you've gotten along the way. One of the best ways to do that is to know exactly what to say so that you are getting them to say the things that they need to hear so that they understand why they want to make a buying decision. There's a very big difference between you selling somebody something and somebody making a buying decision. And if you guide the conversation correctly and you use the phrases that I'm going to give you and you follow the steps that I'm about to share with you, you will be guiding this person through the opportunity to make a decision that's going to change their life. So let's jump into the 9 steps for you to follow so that you can have successful discovery calls. So the first step is the intro. Super simple, right? Hey, how are you? How's it going? Help them feel comfortable in the conversation. That's what you want to do. They're nervous too. Just like you think you're nervous for this conversation, you have to remember there's something very important for them in this conversation. They're a little nervous. Help them feel comfortable. Be human, be relatable, warm greetings. Don't spend forever in this part of the call. You just want to spend a couple of minutes. Help them feel comfortable. Also congratulate them for being on the call. Like I said, they are nervous to be on that call. Say, I am so proud of you for making time for this conversation. I'm really looking forward to finding out some more information from you so that I can help make some recommendations that will help you. The second step is the pre-frame. And this is a really simple step as well, but super, super important. You're going to let them know how the call is going to go. You're basically giving them an agenda. And what you want to say is, here's how the call is going to go. You're going to make it as simple as you can. Here's how the call is going to go. I'm going to ask some questions so that I can understand what's going on with you. I want to make sure I have the full picture. I want you to feel seen and heard and be able to share with me what's going on so that we can work together towards some recommendations that are going to be helpful. So one of the most critical parts of the pre-frame, after you let them know how the call is going to go, is you also want to get their buy-in. And you're going to ask, how does that sound? And they're going to say, sounds great. Great. That's your first micro commitment. Well, really, the fact that they showed up on the call is a great micro commitment as well. Now, one of the things I like to do in the pre-frame, a question that I like to ask is, now that I've shared with you how the call is going to go, I'd like to ask a question. What will make this call a success for you? It's really important because you're finding out from the get-go, when their guard is down, why they're on the call, what they want to get out of the call. Remember, everybody's listened to WIIFM. Find out why they're on the call. You gave them your agenda, find out what theirs is. Okay, here's the third step. And this actually is really powerful. And I don't know that anybody else out there is teaching this part of a discovery call. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to overcome the objections now. What? They haven't even given you an objection yet. What do you mean overcome the objections now, Nick? What does that mean? Here's what I mean. Their guard is down. They're comfortable. You've just taken them through the intro. You've chit-chatted for a minute or two. You got their buy-in to how the call is going to go. This point of the conversation, overcoming objections, is really you kind of pulling out what objections might be there later on. Find out, is there a partner? Is there somebody else that they're going to have to talk to in order to make a decision? You can ask that at this point of the conversation. Who else in your life do these changes impact? Does that person know you're in this conversation? How does that person feel about you making these changes? Those are all great questions to ask so that you're understanding where their head is at in terms of wanting to make a buying decision and who they might need to talk to before that can happen. Step 4, you're going to cover the pain points. This is super important. You want to visit those right off the bat. People buy with emotion, and you want to get them to feel the pain, to share with you what's going on. Why are we here? That's really what you're asking when you're asking what the pain points are. And you don't just say, hey, what are your pain points? But you want to find out what's going on. Why are we on this call? What have you not been able to figure out that you're here to get some support from me on? Give them the time to share these pain points so that they can hear them, not just you. Remember that listen carefully thing? This is where you really want to do it. There are clues everywhere if you're a good listener, and there are tons of clues in the pain points that they will share. Get them to feel what they're feeling from those pain points. Get them to connect with that emotion. Super important. Now, we're on to step 5. What are the dreams that they have? Now that you've visited their pain points, what they don't want, let's talk about what they do want. We're clear on what you don't want. What do you want? What are your visions? What are your dreams? How do you want to feel? If you don't want to feel this way and we visited your pain points, how do you want to feel? That's what you want to help them see. What is going to make this right for you? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? Remember, people buy with emotions. We always want to get them into those feelings, right? So your job in this visions and dreams section is to really connect them with what is it that they want and the feeling that they will have once they achieve it. All right, so the next step, step 6, the consequences to not achieving that goal. Remember, this is all about getting them to feel something. You've had them feel their pain where they don't want to be. You've gotten them connected to their visions and their dreams where they do want to be. And now I want you to connect them to what are the consequences to you not achieving this? What's going to happen if this doesn't happen for you? Another great question to ask, how will it feel if you're still dealing with this 3 months from now? This is a part where you might want to use the actual package that you sell, 3, 6, 9 months, right? A year. How will it feel 9 months from now if you're still experiencing this? Great question to ask because ultimately you have an opportunity for them to make the change. They're telling you they haven't been able to figure it out on their own. And one of the consequences they're looking at is if I don't make this change, what's going to happen if nothing changes? You need to help them get to that place of facing the consequences, facing the music. So we're kind of on a roller coaster, right? What's your pain? What don't you want to feel? What do you want to feel? What's going to happen if you don't get there? We're taking them on an emotional journey. Okay, so after you have visited the consequences, now you're going to revisit their dreams and their visions. So the important part about revisiting their dreams and their visions is I want you to connect it to your services. I want you to connect it to your solution. That's why it's so important to use their words. You can say a phrase like this, because you said XYZ, I'm going to recommend ABC. You get to make a recommendation, but not because you want to make it, because it's a natural connection to what they've told you is going on. And you use their words to describe it, and you connect it to the help that you have available for them. Step 8, overcome objections. Like the scary part, right? Like, how do I overcome the objections? Okay, an objection is a buying signal. An objection is your opportunity to extend the conversation, to keep talking, to get them to share more. Trust me, they will talk themselves out of the objection many times if you get them talking. So an objection is your opportunity to keep the conversation going. You could ask something like this. It sounds like you've made a decision, but there may be some hesitation. Would you like to discuss that? If they say they don't have any questions, quick tip for you. That means they know everything they need to know and they're ready to make a decision. So when they say, or maybe say, I need some time to think about this, you could say, well, out of curiosity, what is it that you need time to think about? Because if they didn't have any questions for you and everything was clear for them, what's the decision they need to make? They know that they have pain. They know that they don't want to be there anymore. They know what you have can help them. Maybe they're in a position where they're like, you're not the right fit. That's fine. Let's get them to say that. But saying I need time to go think about it is just them putting something off, really. Step 9, close the deal. Ask for the business. You've basically gotten them to that point already through taking them through these 9 steps. So now your next step is, all right, it sounds like you've made a decision. And they're going to say, yes, I have. Let's do this. And then you get to celebrate because they just made a huge decision for themselves. You just got a brand new client. Super exciting, right? Maybe they didn't say yes. Maybe you didn't get to celebrate with them. Maybe it wasn't that time where it was time for them to turn into your client. Maybe they're a no, but usually that means a no for right now. Unless they just didn't see the right fit at all, and sometimes that's the case, but you don't actually want them to become your client if it's not the right fit. So many times, if they say yes, great, celebrate, you got a client, they get a transformation. If they say no, you can say, listen, I totally understand if now isn't the right time. I would love for you to stay close, stay in my world, for us to continue to build a relationship. I have plenty of resources and trainings that I do that I would love to support you with until it is time for you to say yes to making these changes in your life. How does that sound? Regardless of what the answer is, yes or no at the end, you want to make sure that that person felt cared about, that they felt seen and heard. That will go a long way. They won't remember what you said or did. They will remember how you made them feel. And this conversation, whether it ends in a yes or no, is an opportunity to further that relationship. And if they're a no, many times it is a not right now. So there you go. There's your 9 steps. You've got the tips for success that I gave you. You've got 9 exact steps that you can follow so that you can go get ready for your next discovery call. What do I mean by get ready? Write your script, get your practice. Remember that? That was my first tip for success. The worst time to think about what you're going to say is the moment you're going to say it. So I want you to take everything that you just wrote down, all the notes you just took, and I want you to go download my Discovery Call workbook because it's got all the questions in there that you're going to want to ask throughout the conversation, and I want you to practice that. So promise me that you will practice everything you've learned here today, that you will write out your script, that you will be prepared for your next conversation, because these are powerful, important, amazing conversations, not just for you and your business, but for the people whose lives are going to be changed because of it. Let me know what you thought of these tips. Share your favorite takeaway below. And until next time, I'm Nick. Bye for now.